All right. Hey, Colby, thanks for joining us on 502 Entrepreneurs podcast today. I'm glad to have you. Um,
Absolutely, man. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me
I don't
on.
know if you remember this or not, but the first time I met you was over at the Melwood Arts Center. And in fact, you were driving for Uber or Lyft or both or something at the time. So,
This is true. I do remember. I absolutely
and
remember.
I've been
You were working, and I don't remember exactly if I said hello first or if you said hello first, but I remember you working at Melwood Art Center and saying what's up. And it's just funny. Here we are. 2 years later? Check the time.
yeah. And I've been following you on Instagram ever since. So, kind of been following your journey along and seeing you kind of start your business and grow. So why don't you go ahead and let everybody who's listening know who you are, what you're doing, and kind of where they can find you, just to get a quick introduction.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Carl. So my name's Colby Noe, and I moved to Louisville about 7 years ago. And originally I'm from Southern California, little town called Ojai, which is in Ventura County between Santa Barbara and Los Angeles. And love Louisville. It's a great place to be. Lots of interesting people, lots of creators, artists, good food. It's got the nice vibe of being a city, but not being too big of a city. It's a quiet city. I just like Louisville. I really like Louisville.
Yeah, I think it's a great place.
For sure. How long you been there?
This is my second go around. So my first go around, I was here about 2 years. My second go around, I've been here for 4. So about 6 years total.
Cool. Way cool. So yeah, I moved to Louisville. Worked in a trucking company for a while, and like you said, I broke off and did a little bit of Lyft and Uber and that, and I started following the hustle, and it really kind of started with the Gary V Flip Challenge in 2017.
Okay.
And he put out this thing where people could go. He was putting out. I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, but he was putting out a lot about how you could buy some stuff at a garage sale, flip it, make some good margins, and take that money and then put it back into inventory and rinse and repeat. And I've noticed that people have been successful with that. And so when I was doing my Uber thing or whatever back in 2017, I started this flip challenge. And I would go into thrift stores, and I would go here and there, and I would just pick up little things that I could do some research on the phone, and just get some metrics and figure out what's selling. Matter of fact, I just got an offer right now on eBay.
There you go.
Just figure out what's selling, and come to find out there's lots of stuff that you can find, whether it's secondhand or brand new, and you can find it. Other people are willing to pay more money for it, and it's supply and demand, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, Gary puts out tons of great content and things like that. And, he talks about how 98% of people won't do anything with it. And so you're one of those 2% people who acted, and you're seeing some success there in the flipping game, which is cool.
It's been enjoyable to learn, like lots of work. I'll say this, that, when you look at the reseller community on whether it's Instagram, Real Colby on Instagram, if you look at people doing what I've been doing, oftentimes it looks easy, right? And thanks for the shout for the ReUp. And people make it look easy, but the fact of the matter is, anybody saying that anything worthwhile is easy is probably selling you a pipe dream, right?
Yeah.
If anybody's going to say you're going to make some quick, big money, and you're going to buy a Lambo and sail off on a yacht, just take my $2,000 course or whatever. That's a bunch of baloney. It's not easy. It's tons of hard work. Honestly, a big part of me wants to say, don't do this at home. It's more work than it's worth. And it's for the amount of work that goes into it, just getting a job pays better, or it's a lot of work, and yet it takes a certain person who, it's worth doing the work for the amount of freedom. To some people it's worth it, to other people it's not, and there is no right and wrong. Not everybody should be self-employed or whatever. There's nothing wrong with having a main, whether it's a main job or just having a side hustle, whatever works for you, right? Like, I'm not trying
That's right.
I don't think that everybody should be doing this kind of thing, because it's a ton of work and it does require sacrifice.
Sure.
But
If you
I
had
enjoy it.
if you had to put a time frame on how many hours a week you're working on it, before the whole coronavirus situation, when you're out there, you're able to hustle and get after it. How many hours a week do you say you're working on it?
I mean, I want to keep it real, of course. Definitely more than 40. I can say that for
More
sure.
than 40? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work when you're trying to make a living at it. Then again, at one point I was just doing a side hustle and making a little bit of extra money here and there, and eventually was able to, make it the main hustle. And even when it was the main hustle, I still had some other side hustles. I think that it is important to diversify and have multiple sources and forms of income. But again, not everybody can have 3 or 4 side hustles or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious with the flipping game and everything there. What's the average life cycle time frame for an item? Say you find a pair of shoes that you're going to sell. I'm assuming you sell most things through eBay or something like that, to get more audience on it. But
sure.
How long before you pick something up until you make the sale is your average?
That's a great question. I'd like to give you a solid answer on that, but truth be told, there's a lot of stuff that I'm holding on to that I wish, I sold. I'm talking about merchandise that's so old it has a beard. And
right.
that's no bueno. Ideally you want stuff flipping, immediately, but you don't want to feel like if we list something and it sells right away, the question becomes, well, maybe you mispriced it.
Right.
In theory, that shouldn't happen, because you should do the research and know how much something is worth before you buy it. But ideally, you want stuff turning around, within a month or 2 months.
Okay.
You don't want to be holding on to stuff forever. And everybody,
right.
again, you ask me, you're going to get a different answer than another reseller. But I think it's safe to say that the math doesn't lie. The fact of the matter is, and I've seen, if you just bust out a calculator and do some quick maths, if you're compounding a smaller return, but if you're doing it more frequently, the numbers add up. You're going to be making a lot more money if you're doing it more frequently and compounding and reinvesting your returns and your principal. What makes more money, if you make a 15% return every 2 months and compound that, or doubling your money after after 1 year, that 15% is going to you're going to do better making the smaller returns.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Very cool. So, what kind of items do you find that are the ones that you're flipping the most? What's the? I'm sure the market's up and down on different things, and depending on the time of the year and things like that. But
True. And
and if there's
I've still
big
got.
secrets and you don't want to tell anybody, that's cool too.
No, I appreciate it, man. I hope people get some value from this. I've still got like winter wear. Here it is May, and I've still got. No, it's April. I've got winter wear, and so if anybody needs winter wear, hit me up. That's not ideal, but a lot of main things have been clothes and shoes and whatnot. But if you stay the same, I feel like you're either moving or forwards or backwards, and you're either on offense or defense in a lot of ways. So I think that one thing that I don't want to happen is complacency. So what I mean by that is I want to stay growing. I want to stay learning, and a part of that is don't want to get complacent just selling the same things, right?
Yeah.
So the question becomes how to grow, how to get more products that we can bring to market that are valuable to people, and that supply supply people with quality products, so that we're able to grow our catalog as such. And so what we've been focusing on is getting a little bit away from the same clothes and shoes arbitrage, which is retail arbitrage. There's a lot of different ways of operating in commerce, but I'm sure it's safe to say that like a lot of commerce is going is happening on the internet, especially with the crazy times that we live in right now. A lot of more people are going to the internet, and I find it challenging that Main Street is struggling, and that I do find it concerning that mom and pop shops are struggling and everything's going towards Amazon or these big e-commerce retailers. I just thought I would throw that in there, and I think that if we have to adapt with the times, right? And we have to figure out how to survive in this economy. So I think the only way to survive is to adapt and operate business lean and mean, so to say, and figure out how to compete with the way it is. Amazon's not going anywhere, and neither is Zappos and these behemoth retailers. They're not going anywhere.
Right.
So the question is, how do you compete, and what value can you bring to the market? I think even though, and I'm sorry if I'm taking forever to get to your question. All good. I think even though most things are going towards e-commerce, I think people still prefer to deal with people that they know, or Main Street or mom and pop shops. And I think that there is hopefully a balance where people can figure out a way to either operate on these marketplaces or set up their own shops on the internet and you know, and operate their business. I don't think you can operate the same in 2020 as you can 1990, right?
No, yeah. I think you're 100% right. And I think one of the things that we're going to see coming from this coronavirus is, you know, these mom and pop shops or these, you know, brick and mortar style stores are really going to take a hard look at the way they're running business. And I think they're going to maintain these stores because, like you said, a lot of people feel comfortable shopping there. They love helping local businesses and things like that. But they've learned the hard way that they can't keep all their eggs in the one basket, right? Because they're making money one day, and then the next day they know the government's got them shut down because of this virus. And, you know, a lot of them don't have
could have seen that coming.
To sell online right now. But, you know, I think a lot of them are going to get that implemented. You know, if they're not working on it now, they're going to be working on it in the near future. So I think there's going to be a huge shift there for these local businesses to get their business online.
For sure.
You know, and they may not be targeting an international market still. They may still just be targeting their local communities, but they're going to give them a different way to shop and have multiple experiences there.
For sure. For sure. And, you know, big, huge shout to small businesses and local businesses. And I think everybody's rooting for the small businesses, the underdogs. And people want to give their business to people that they know, even if it is on the internet. So I guess the reason that I felt the need to go on that rant is because similarly, I want to try and stay ahead of the curve and ahead of the game, and adapt, because it is only becoming more competitive.
Right.
So that's why I'm excited to be on the show and network with you, Carl. Like, you know, this is why one way or another, you know, we linked up and here we are still talking, because I think that these relationships that you connect with people, whether it's photography business or e-commerce or this or that or the other thing, whether you're an artist, a producer, a copywriter, whatever you're doing, a marketer, there's ways for us to help each other out and provide value to each other in these mutually beneficial arrangements. So
yeah, I agree.
What are you gonna do? I mean, the unfortunate fact is, you know, Amazon is gonna eat everybody's lunch. You know, they're coming for everybody. I mean, check this out, my friend. You're in photography, and yep. I'm super interested in hearing about how that's been going for you too. But check this out. Amazon, I remember a year ago, they sent me a message that said, "Hey, we are in the house cleaning business, and we will send people to come clean your house." I was like, what? Like,
yeah, they're into everything now. Everything.
Right. And if you can't beat them, join them or adapt. And
well, yeah, I think joining them is a good point too, because there's tons of people out there who have their own product, who are sending it to Amazon, selling it on Amazon, having it fulfilled by Amazon. So they're taking away, you know, the trips to the post office or the UPS guy or whatever, and letting Amazon do that work. And they're perfectly happy with Amazon taking their share to do that.
FBA changed the game. Fulfilled by Amazon has changed the game entirely.
And so, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you can join them, you can still make some money. You know, you're not making your full profit, but also you're getting on Amazon's platform, which is worth a ton. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, what's the balance there? But so what's the biggest accomplishment that you've had recently with your business that you're proud of the most?
So we just hit $1 million in gross sales a couple weeks ago.
For a lifetime or for the year?
for lifetime over
Okay.
over 3 years or so
Cool.
operating.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And that was cool. But you know, $1 million in gross sales isn't as much as people think. You know, like it's not like it's not that. It's not like it's just the beginning, and but that's a milestone. I'll still give myself a little pat on the back because
Sure.
that
Yeah. Absolutely.
feels good and it's kind of a big deal. But I do think that it's important to keep things in perspective. When you do the math and you start factoring in costs, expenses, rent, this, that, and the other thing, taxes, it's not as it's not gigantic, but it's still a big win.
Sure. Yeah.
As long as it's you put it in perspective, and it's about the process. So I'll take whatever wins I can get, because God knows I've taken some L's along the way, and I'm just trying to learn from that, and keep putting the work in, and not get complacent, not get lazy, not
Right.
not think that I've made it or anything like that, because I haven't. And I feel like as soon as you think you've made it, that's it.
You're done. Yeah.
Game over.
So what about your biggest lesson learned so far? What do you think that's been?
Lesson learned. I mean, there's a lot of things that I would have probably done sooner. But just go as hard as you can, right? Go as hard as you can. Get other people involved as well, because it's times like these when people like can't even go anywhere. The shops are closed. A lot of people, myself included, are like, damn, I wish I went harder when I could have.
Right.
So you got to go hard in the paint when you can, to get those points, because not that I regret anything, because I've been learning along the way, but it's like, damn, don't want to leave opportunities on the table. Also, don't be afraid to get people not only involved, but network with people. I think a major disadvantage is if you say, okay, I'm self, and I'm not going to share because I'm scared of people. I think that's you're just keeping yourself small. You're putting yourself in a small little fishbowl. If you want to just be a solopreneur or whatever, man, speaking as someone that's operated as a solopreneur for more than 2 years, it's a lot of work. And as soon as you can scale and start to actually get people involved, and start focusing on a real business, is the sooner the better.
Right. And you said, right, before we started and hopped on here, you said you're starting to do that now, right? You've got a partner who's involved in your business now. You guys are starting to work together a little bit and kind of get things moving in that direction.
Yeah. Big shout to the madman, Ben Lanive. He's been working with me for a while. He's been helping me out, and yes, we've started to focus on how can we go from a side hustle mentality more into a real business, where we can start to develop a bit of a community, start to get other people involved that don't necessarily need to be resellers. Like most people can bring some sort of value to the table, and it's fun. I mean, not to mention, it's just more fun involving yourself with other people and networking. We're social, we're social. So so it's just fun to share stuff with people and see how see how things go.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. That's very cool.
So that's we call it the ReUp, and that's that's kind of the umbrella. Thanks for plugging the Facebook there. please do.
Yeah, why don't you tell people
Or
who are listening what it is?
if
Facebook
people are
page.
interested, find us facebook.com/REUP sales US UK. Because we are looking to hopefully operate more in the United Kingdom. And give us a like, we'd super appreciate it. And we're just simply trying to form a community where we can start where we can start involving people, and where people can also find us to see how we grow as an organization. And our main focus is this. When I started, the 2017 Flip Challenge and whatnot, when I was just, selling stuff from thrift stores and whatnot. And then we started to get into new merchandise and selling anything from electronics to supplements to games to, hardware, anything you can really think of, but a lot of clothes and shoes and whatever. The focus is, again, we operate on these marketplaces and whatnot, but I'm aware that that it's not just about money. It's not just about e-commerce necessarily, but it's a lot more fun doing business if you do have a network and a community of people that you can share stuff with. And so what we're doing with the ReUp is we're documenting our transition into business, and our only concern and our only priority is providing value to people. So we're not trying to sell people on stuff.
Right.
We sell stuff on the internet and whatnot, but if we post something for sale on the ReUp right now, it's not like we're not even really like making any money on this stuff, because a lot of it is like liquidations. Like, we're selling stuff at cost. Sometimes we're taking, an L on the stuff. So what's important to me and Ben and whoever else is working with us is we just want to build a community, share value with people, and there's no catch to that. We just enjoy the social aspect of taking our business, and we don't want to just operate on these big marketplaces which don't have a face and you don't really know what's going on. We do want a more of a local aspect to that, and that's, I think, the biggest part of starting to build a business is getting people involved, and that's a lot of fun, and it's exciting because I'm not really interested in just operating by myself. I want to get other people involved and share value.
Yeah, very cool. I think that's amazing. So I know you're running short on time here because you got another commitment you got to. But if people are listening and they're thinking, man, I kind of want to go back in time to 2017 and try the flip game now.
Yeah.
Where's the best place for these guys to start? Is it with stuff around the house? Is it the thrift store? How do you recommend people start this?
Good. Yeah. Good question. Excellent question. Don't worry about building a time machine and starting 2017. There's nothing stopping you from starting right now. And even if you literally can't leave your house, you can find tons of stuff that you could sell that you're not using in your house to come up with some capital, because I think that most people could probably use some extra money right now. So the question is, like, why have some stupid thing in your closet that you're never going to use? If it's worth money, that money is probably more useful to you right now than just leaving stuff sitting around or whatever. So so you can start there, and there's nothing stopping you from expanding and you could make, anybody listening to this could make reselling a full-time a full-time thing for themselves. And the best way to get started is just do it. And there's really no like perfect way to get started. There just isn't. I mean, the best way to get started is get started and sell some stuff and figure it out. I'm happy to work with people if they can follow the hustle. They can connect with me on social. I'm more than happy to connect with people. I am Real Colby on IG, and they can find me on Facebook or Twitter at Colby Noe, at COLBYNOE. Find me wherever. Find me on LinkedIn. And I'm happy to connect with people. But people don't. There's no gatekeepers. There's less gatekeepers anymore. You don't need to rent or lease a brick and mortar shop or whatever. Entrepreneurship is it's been a thing for since forever. So yeah. So just figure it out. I think people should be encouraged that there's nothing stopping you from selling some stuff, whether it's just to sell some stuff you're never going to use, or turn it into an actual business. But there's plenty of resources. I would say you probably don't need to buy a course or any of that stuff. Most courses are not worth what you pay for them. And there's no substitute for experience.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, very cool, Colby. Well, man, I really appreciate you joining us here on 502 Entrepreneurs. I hope you can get back at it here pretty soon, and that this quarantine, hopefully we're on the downhill slope of this thing and everybody can start getting back to work. But it's important for us to take these steps. That way fewer people are getting sick and losing their lives. And you're doing your part. We're all doing our part here of the quarantine. So we appreciate that. But at the same time, we kind of want to get back to work. So
Absolutely. And I can't think of a more important time for us to have conversations and figure out how we can help each other and how we can help each other get through challenging times. And I really appreciate you having me on the show, Carl. All the best. No problem. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Colby. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Take care, man.